Sveicināti Agronomu brokastīs. Mēs trīs kolēģi esam burvīgā vietā, ņemot vērā to, ka septembris mums ir bioloģiskās lauksaimniecības mēnesis un 23. septembris Eiropā tiek atzīmēts kā bioloģiskās pārtikas diena. Tad interesantus sižetus sagatavosim jums par bioloģisko lauksaimniecību Latvijā. Šobrīd atrodamies saimniecībā SIA Grīnis, Pociemā pie saimnieka Edis Normana. Ko holandietis dara Latvijā?
I decided to go to Latvia because of the green area. If you look through whole Europe and you think about organic farming, I think Latvia and the Baltics, but Latvia in special, I think is the most green spot from Europe, where you can farm in pure nature areas, but still with a relative low pressure of environmental issues. And of course, if you look from economical side, the soil prices, if you look even on a map of Europe, they are pretty low here. Of course, Latvia also has its challenges, but if you look from economic side, it's still possible to make a business here with the relative low soil prices.
Un visiem trim kolēģiem īstenībā šī ir saimniecība, kas ir saistīta gan ar mūsu nozari, gan ar mums katru no uzņēmumiem. Jara ir uzsākusi projektu Jara Sun šajā gadā, un līdz ar to mēs šeit veicam arī izmēģinājumus.
Jā, ar agrikonu runājot, ar bioloģisko ražošanu ir saistība tikpat liela, cik ar konvenciālo ražošanu, jo augsnes auglības jautājumi ir svarīgi ar abām tehnoloģijām. Un tā kā augsnes auglībā mēs risinām tieši jautājums par agroķīmisko nodrošinājumu, bioloģiskā aktivitāte augsnē nerisināsies, ja netiks augsnē veikt kārtīga kaļķošana, kas bioloģiskā saimniekošanā viennozīmīgi ir atļauta, barības elementu nodrošināšana, kas atkal dod augam to vajadzīgo resursu. Tā kā mūsu saistība gatavojot augsnes mēslošanas plānus viennozīmīgi ir ar bioloģiskām saimniecībām jau no dienas pirmās, kad mēs bijām Latvijā. Tā kā prieks ir ierasties arī šī saimniecībā.
Un Corteva AgriScience, kas līdz šim bija zinām vairāk kā konvenciālo saimnieku, tā kā produktu ražotājs, no šī pavasara iestartējis arī ar Corteva Bioloģikals, nopērkot 2 rūpnīcas pasaulē un pilnībā integrējoties arī bioloģiskajā tirgo dažāda veida risinājumiem tikai priekš konvenciāliem saimniekiem, bet arī priekš bioloģiskiem. Tā kā iesim tam visam cauri un skatīsimies, kādi ir produkti, kurus mēs varam jums piedāvāt.
Ja mēs runājam tālāk par saimniecību, kāda ir saimniecības tehnoloģija audzēšanā?
For my farm, there are 3 things what is really important in organic growing. Soil, soil, soil. And of course, this is a little bit skeptical. There are more things important, like weed management and also how to work with moisture to keep the moisture in the soil. On my farm, I always have a strategy from keep it simple. I like a cropping plan what is simply to operate. We start with peas. Peas give nitrogen in the soil after the growing. The year after, we go for wheat. To be honest, I'm a wheat grower, and it's not only the economics, but it's also if you can grow wheat in organic farming, it is the most difficult crop to get the real tons. And the wheat is for me the indicator that the soil is really okay. For the wheat, we give the maximum input, what is possible with all the nutrients, what I can get for organic farming, to get a nice crop, to get a healthy crop. If you do that correct, the year after we go for barley, and the barley can live on the nutrients which are left over from the wheat. And the last crop in the rotation is oats or triticale, which almost need nothing. And it's a way of working what for us is workable to operate a 1,300 hectare farm in a relative simple structure.
Kāda saimniecībai galvenie izaicinājumi?
Organic farming is not easy. It sounds easy, but I think organic farming is one of the more difficult to grow as conventional. And why? Because we work with nature, we work with the soil. And the biggest challenge is all the nutrients what we add are organic, so you never know when they come free. And you need to have a balance in your soil, that all the nutrients are there in the right proportions. You need to have some luck with the weather, with the rain, to keep the moisture. And another real challenge in organic farming is the input-output structure. If you calculate all this organic material, what you put in, it takes some time to convert in the soil and it release again. And there is always a time in between. The good thing with organic farming is it don't spoil out so quick. So it's always the money is not lost, but you never know when it comes out. And if you need to find a balance between the money you put in and what comes out. Because if you don't watch out, and especially if you do it on big scale, you are at negative in your cash flow for a few years before this positive transition comes out.
Un šajā visā procesā arī iesaistīti ir jāra suna. Kādas ir tās lietas, ko tu varētu pateikt, kāpēc jāra suna tieši tavā tehnoloģijā?
On my farm, we always use the maximum input what we can get from organic materials. Organic chicken, compost, cow shit from small farmers in my area. We take all to get the soil active, to get this bottom process, soil process keep running. But all these materials are organic and it's all slow. It's slow in release. And for in my opinion, the Yara Suna is a very good product to give an extra boost in the start. The boost when you start seeding, that the nutrients, especially the phosphor and the nitrogen, the slapiclis, is quick available for the plant. And it's the typically challenge in Latvia is we have so short growing season, and then with the nutrients which need to release organic, if we don't watch out, the release is too slow. And I think this Yara Suna is a perfect product to give this extra boost in the start, that the crop have the perfect start to get the maximum yield out.
Un kāda ir tava pieredze pēc viena gada lietošanas?
We have now 1 year experience with the Yara Suna. We did use it in the winter crops and also in the spring crops. This year was of course a year with a big challenge because of the big dryness from May till the week after LIGO and the big rain after that. We did spread it out on the winter crops with the fertilizer spreader on top, and with the lack of moisture, to be honest, I could not see the result. But simply because there was no good soil connection and release of the nutrients. And as I told before, I don't think it's lost money because we plow it in and it's organic material, it's bounded, so it will work somewhere the next year. But of course, for the winter crop, it didn't give the effect what I hoped. But in the spring crops, where we did put it after plowing and rolling, put it on the top just before the seeder, so it was pretty close to the seed. We really could see the boost of this product. And we have some stripes with and without. We made some calculations about the difference in tons. That is already really interesting to see. But what is another important topic is the quality of the grains. Because for the field where we use the Yara Suna with the nice proposition, we reached 14.5% nitrogen this year. And I think for organic farming, that is really interesting. And I don't say it's all Yara Suna, it is of course the mix from all the products what we use and the soil which is already in good shape. But technically, it is possible to reach these high yields and also this quality of the grains. And I think for the Baltics, where we are in organic bulk producers, we need to be able to produce quality, to be less sensitive that the bulk buyers from West Europe say, sorry, we go for our local products. And with this, the Yara Suna really helps.
Man arī ir agronomiska rakstura jautājumi. Un visā laukkopība balstās uz 3 agronomiskām spēcīgām kājām. Tā ir augsnes fizikālās īpašības, augsnes bioloģiskās īpašības un agroķīmiskās īpašības. Un visas šīs kājas vienu otru atbalsta. Un runājot tieši par augsnes fizikālām īpašībām, man ir jautājums Edam par to, kāda ir augsnes apstrādes tehnoloģija saimniecībā un kāpēc.
We did a lot of testing with all kind of tillages. And of course, I think at the current times it's all the time more actual because of the high fuel prices, to look for opportunities to save fuel and to less tillage the soil. But my experience in organic is simply that we need clean start. And the only clean start is possible with plowing. And of course we plow not too deep. We don't plow 25 centimeters, we plow 20, 22 to get the weeds away, to get the fresh start for the seeds, which are much deeper as the weeds, so that gives 2 weeks advantage. But also plow a little bit more deeper, brings also up the moisture. And I think especially for spring crops, we see more and more that the May is a relative dry year. And with plowing a little bit on the 22, 20 centimeters, we can fully use the moisture if you directly do seeding after that.
Yes.
We also did some experience with eco-plowing. I think in theory it works very nice, very smooth to keep the nutrients on the right level up, but you don't work away the weeds deep enough, and you see too quick that the weeds come through the grain. And if you see in the harvesting monitor what is the yields where it is dirty and what is the yield where it is clean, the weeds eat really your tons, your yield away. So in my opinion, weed management and a fresh start with a little bit deeper plowing is a must for a good harvest.
Jā. Nu, pieminēšu, kad saimniecība atrodas Limbažu pusē, un šeit augsnes ir smilšainas un tad mālsmilts augsnes ir tā kā salīdzinoši vieglas. Tā saimniecībā nav pilnīgi neapšaubāmi darbojas augsnes auglības virzienā, un laika posmā no paša saimniecības darbošanās sākuma līdz šodienai augsnes auglība ir jau stipri kāpusi. Pirms vairākiem gadiem, kad mēs veicām šeit augsnes analīzes, jau augsnes agroķīmiskais līmenis bija labāks kā principā vidēji. Tajā brīdī mēs varējām novērtēt starp citām saimniecībām, ieskaitot konvenciālām. Un tādēļ man ir jautājums Edam par to, cik viņš augstu vērtē augsnes agroķīmisko nodrošinājumu, kāds tas ir saimniecībā šodien, pēc viņa skatījuma, un cik lielu nozīmi viņš pievērš uzmanību balansam barības elementiem.
We are very focused on getting the right fertility structure in the soil, and our goal for long term, and the philosophy is that if the soil fertility is optimum and the right balance is there, I think if you have the right year with enough of rain, again,
Yeah.
then you can almost reach conventional yields. But you need to have this balance. But to get this balance in organic farming, if you see what you really in real life need to add to come on this level, I think we are still in the process by simply adding the maximum input what we can get. If I see in my analysis today how it looks, we are with most fields in green with phosphor, potassium and nitrogen, and also sulfur and the microelements, but it is still not the level what I would like to have an optimum farming. Organic farming, working on organic release, is like a battery which you need to load up. And to get this process of a battery which is fully loaded, I think it takes 10, 12 years. And we do this now 5-6 years. And the basic is there. If you look to the analyzers, I think we, and also with soil analyzer, but also leaf analyzers in the crops, we are almost on conventional levels that don't say that automatically the yields comes out. For example, like a year like this, when it's very dry or very wet. In organic, it's always more a challenge how the nature reacts on everything, but we try to get the max out.
Kurš elements šī laika periodā no 2015. Gada līdz šodienai, kas bija tas no augsnes agroķīmiskiem rādītājiem, uz kuru vairāk bija jāfokusējās?
I think it's a combination of elements, but if you ask me really what is the problem in the Baltics, that is phosphor, phosphor, phosphor. If you typically ask for organic farming, of course it is the nitrogen, because we can only add organic nitrogen, which gives a slow release. And in our climate, the growing season is so short with a lot of light and almost the same temperature that the release of the organic nitrogen is too slow. So all what we can do with getting that maximum, I think, is the most limiting for getting the maximum yield out. Sulfur is important, molybdēna is important.
Ko tu esi darījis saimniecībā saistībā ar augsnes pH regulāciju un kāda ir tava pieredze?
In organic farming, I think the pH is the most simple thing what we can do. to get the right balance in the soil. It's a relative cheap investment, and I think it's simply the number one what you should do to improve your soil fertility. We used calcis, calcium, but also ashes from heat houses to get the pH on the right structure. On the other side, if you don't use the fertilizers and you have an active soil, I think my belief is that somewhere the soil automatically goes to a balancing, more as that you use the fertilizers, the chemical fertilizers, which of course have a little bit negative effect on the pH. But for us it's the number one to start, and our levels are pretty okay here.
Kas ir ar organisko vielu tavā saimniecībā un cik tā ir nozīmīga?
Organic matter gives the possibility to keep the nutrients, but also to release the nutrients. And if I look back in my farm, and of course also see some neighbor farms in areas, we are always late with harvesting. And most conventional neighbors are already harvesting, or all is done, and our crops is still green. And for a part, of course, that is fertilizing, but it's also the organic matter what helps to keep your crops green. Also in periods with a lot of dry times. And if you, for example, look this year, May till June was extreme dry, and we were harvesting, I think, from 15th of August, and before that there was no winter grain, there was no spring grains ready. And I think this is mostly based on a high organic matter. We also did some soil analysis. We do this continue, and for a lot of fields we reach over 5% organic matter. And I'm really sure that it contributes to higher yields.
Man vairs nav mazāko šaubu, ka trešā kāja agronomijā bioloģiskā aktivitāte saimniecībā strādā perfekti, lai būtu tā vide, kurā bioloģiskā aktivitāte var dzīvot, attīstīties un pilnveidoties. Un tad arī veidojās šis balans labākām ražām.
Kas bija ļoti interesanti, runājot ar saimnieku, viņš pats pieminēja mūsu jaunāko produktu Blue N, jo viņš par viņu bija dzirdējis. Viņš zina, ka viņa kolēģi citās valstīs to lieto, un viņš ļoti labprāt arī pats pamēģinātu to darīt Latvijā. Bet divos vārdos par Corteva AgriScience, kas tad ir tas mūsu jaunums, vai ar ko mēs vispār nākam pie ne tikai konvenciāliem saimniekiem, bet arī pie bioloģiskiem saimniekiem. Tas ir produkts Blue N, jeb trišēn, kas ir dzīves produkts, kas sastāv no metilobaktērijām, un tas, kas ir pilnīgs jaunums, ir tas tieši veids, kādā tas strādās uz augu. Jo, ja līdz šim mēs esam dzirdējuši par dažādu veidu baktērijām, kas strādā caur augsni, vai arī kaut kādā veidā dod stimulus vai impulsu augam, kas to viņus sastimulēs viņu, lai viņš sāktu ņemt kaut ko no augsnes, un tādā veidā tad Blue N, jeb trišēn, ir produkts, kas strādās uz augu caur auga lapām, uz auga redzamo daļu un piesaistīs slāpekli no atmosfēras vistiešākajā veidā uz jaunākajām auga lapām. Tas ir kaut kas pilnībā jauns, bet tā ir ļoti izskaidrojama tehnoloģija, kā tas strādā, kā metilobaktērijas pārvietojas augā, kuros brīžos to vislabāk lietot un kāds ir tas vēlamais rezultāts, ko mēs beigās gribam iegūt. Ja tā galvenā doma ir, ka mēs ejam uz dažādu veidu ilgtermiņa risinājumiem, kā mēs varam vēl apgūt kaut kādu veidu neapgūto potenciālu un piešķirt savam augam vēl papildus tādu maksas aprūpi. Un šī gadījumā pēc mūsu pētījuma rezultātiem, gan kviešos, gan rapsī, mēs varam piesaistīt līdz šiem 30 kg tīrvielā papildus slāpekli augam, kas iepriekš viņam nebija pieejams. Un šī gadījumā tu tiešām esi daudz neatkarīgāks no tādiem faktoriem kā augsnes mitrums, temperatūras un attiecīgi vēl dažādi faktori, kur bieži vien tu esi pakļauts šiem visiem iepriekš minētajiem faktoriem, kas tev neļauj tikpat veiksmīgi izmantot jau šo varbūt līdz šim pierasto sintētisko slāpekli. Bet atceramies to, ka šis jaunais produkts, viņš noteikti nāks kā tāda papildus lieta jau jums jau esošajai tehnoloģijai. Jūs strādājat ar savu pamattehnoloģiju, mēslojat pēc saviem mēslošanas plāniem, un šis tas veids, kā vēl izcelt kaut kādā brīdī no tā auga kaut ko vēl vairāk. kurā gadījumā jums varbūt nostrādās sausums par slikti vai kurā gadījumā kaut kādi pārmetri apstākļi, tad šī gadījumā ar produktu Blue N vai Nutrition jūs varēsiet iegūt šo te papildus slābekli arī kaut kādos laikapstākļos, kuros jūs līdz šim ar parasto tehnoloģiju nevarētu to izdarīt. Par papildus jautājumiem par šo produktu, kā viņš tiešām strādā un kur viņu var iegādāties, lūdzu vēršties pie Corteva pārstāvjiem Latvijā.